The message popped up on my phone at 2:17 a.m. Ethan, I did something terrible. I accidentally slept with my ex. For a few seconds I thought I was still dreaming. The words didn't fit the world I knew, the world where I was getting married in 6 days to the woman I loved more than anyone. My throat tightened, and the air around me turned heavy, unreal. I stared at the screen, waiting for her to follow up with something. A joke, a correction, a just kidding. But nothing came. Just that one line, glowing against the darkness of my bedroom. A week earlier, we'd been sitting together on our small apartment balcony, planning the last details of the wedding. Her laughter had been soft and full of excitement as she talked about her bachelorette party in Miami. "Promise you won't get jealous," she'd said, teasing me with that mischievous grin that first made me fall for her. "I trust you," I'd replied. And I meant it. Her name was Sophie Keller, a marketing consultant with a heart that, at least I thought, belonged to me. We'd met 3 years earlier at a friend's dinner party. She was wearing a pale blue dress and arguing about books with someone across the table. By the end of the night, we'd talked until dawn. I'd never believed in meant to be, until Sophie. Now, sitting in bed, my hands trembling, I read the message again. Accidentally slept with my ex. How do you accidentally do that? My first instinct was to call her. But I stopped. I didn't want to hear her voice yet. Not until I knew how to feel. Anger. Shock. Sadness. Everything came crashing together until I couldn't separate one from the other. Instead, I texted back. "With your ex? You mean Eric?" Eric. The ex-boyfriend she'd sworn she'd buried in her past. The one she'd told me had taught her what she didn't want in a man. Her reply came quickly. "Yes. It wasn't planned. He was there, he showed up at the club. I was drunk. Just happened. I'm so sorry." I stared at the words, my pulse hammering. The part that burned the most wasn't what she'd done. It was how easily she confessed. Like she'd already decided how this conversation would go. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, staring at the half-packed suitcases. In 6 days, we were supposed to fly to Colorado for the wedding. My family had already booked their flights. Her dress was hanging in the closet. Everything was ready except now there was this. At 7 a.m. I finally called her. She picked up after one ring. "Ethan." Her voice was trembling. "Where are you?" I asked. "In the hotel room. Everyone's asleep." There was silence between us, thick and painful. "Sophie," I said quietly, "tell me what happened." She broke down crying. Between sobs, the story tumbled out. How she'd been drinking with her friends, how Eric had shown up unexpectedly, how one thing led to another. "It didn't mean anything," she kept saying. "It was a mistake. I swear it was just that once." I listened without interrupting. Each word felt like glass cutting into me. When she finally stopped talking, I asked, "Why did you text me? Why not just keep it to yourself?" "Because I couldn't lie to you," she whispered. "You deserve the truth." That's what she said. But deep down I wondered if it was guilt, not love, that drove her to confess. The next few days were chaos. My mom kept calling asking about the wedding. Her parents sent photos of the venue decorations. And Sophie kept texting me. "Please talk to me. Can we fix this? I can't lose you." I didn't reply. Instead, I went to the lake, the place where we'd gotten engaged 8 months earlier. It was quiet there, wind brushing across the water, and I remembered how she'd cried when I'd slipped the ring on her finger. "You're my forever," she'd said then. But forever, it seemed, had an expiration date. By the 4th day, I decided I needed to see her face to face. She'd flown back that morning, and I went straight to her apartment. She opened the door with swollen eyes, makeup smeared from crying. She looked small, nothing like the confident woman I'd fallen for. "Ethan," she whispered. I walked past her without a word. The apartment still smelled like her perfume, that soft vanilla scent I'd always loved. On the coffee table sat an empty wine glass and a photo of us at the engagement party. She followed me inside, wringing her hands. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. I just need you to understand I'm sorry. I turned to her. You want me to understand why you slept with someone else? Tears filled her eyes again. It wasn't like that. I don't even know why I did it. I was drunk, and seeing him brought back things I thought I'd buried. But I love you, Ethan. I do. Love. I almost laughed. You don't do this to someone you love. She took a step closer, voice breaking. Please, don't end this over one mistake. One mistake. I said softly. You didn't spill a drink, Sophie. You destroyed trust. Do you even realize what you've done? She didn't answer. She just stood there, crying, and for a brief moment I wanted to hold her. I hated that part of me still wanted to. That night I stayed at a friend's place. I couldn't go home. Everything there reminded me of her. Barely ate. Barely spoke. On the 5th day she sent one last message. If you don't show up at the wedding, I'll understand. But I'll be there, because I still want to marry you. Even if it's just me waiting at the altar. I stared at that text for a long time. Part of me wanted to go. Not to forgive her, but to see if she truly meant it. To see what kind of person waits for someone they've betrayed. The wedding day came. The church was decorated with white roses and candles. Guests murmured quietly, unaware of what had happened. I stood outside in the parking lot, watching through the glass doors as she arrived in her gown. She looked breathtaking and broken. Her hands were shaking as she clutched the bouquet. She turned, eyes scanning the crowd, and then they landed on me. For a moment, everything went silent. I walked in slowly. Each step echoed like a drumbeat. People smiled, thinking it was all part of the plan. When I reached her, she whispered, "You came." He nodded. "Yeah, I came." Then I took a deep breath and said loud enough for the front rows to hear, "But not to marry you." The crowd froze. Her face went pale. "I came," I said, voice steady now, "to tell you that you were the best part of my life until you weren't. I hope someday you understand what trust really means. But I can't be the one to teach you." I placed the ring on the altar and walked away. Behind me I heard her sob, soft at first, then louder. But I didn't turn back. Not this time. Months passed. I moved to a new city, got a new job, tried to rebuild whatever was left of me. One evening I found a letter in the mail. No return address. I opened it, and her handwriting spilled across the page. "You were right. It wasn't love what I did, it was fear. Fear of losing control, fear of settling into something real. I ruined the one thing that was ever pure in my life. Sorry. I'll carry that forever." I folded the letter and set it aside. There was no anger left in me, just a quiet ache, the kind that fades but never disappears completely. Sometimes late at night I still think about her, about what could have been if that one night had gone differently. But then I remember her text. "I accidentally slept with my ex." And I remember my reply, the one I never sent but will always remember thinking, "No, Sophie. You didn't accidentally lose me. You made a choice."